Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 145 in the Gospel of John. Today we're going to learn about mocking by color, cloak, and crown. So watch now as we're going to see a group of people act like Jesus is king to show him specifically that he is not their king. So this is from John chapter 19. I'm going to start in verse number 1. Then Pilate took Jesus and flogged him. We talked about that yesterday. Verse 2, and the soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns and put it on his head and arrayed him in a purple robe. They came up to him saying, Hail, King of the Jews, and struck him with their hands. Pilate went out again and said to them, so he goes outside to the Jews outside his fortress and says, See, I am bringing him out to you, that you may know that I find no guilt in him. So Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. Pilate said to him, Behold the man. So I'm going to ask you to please join with me and think carefully about this moment in history. Jesus has been beaten. He's probably bleeding, dehydrated, lacerated. He's been politically and legally victimized up to this point. He's already been bound. He's been struck. He's been scourged, and now he is mocked. And he has given up his crown of authority in heaven to come and receive this crown of thorns. And don't forget, he's been planning this sacrifice and all the violations that we're going to talk about today that accompany this sacrifice for a long time. So Jesus is mocked. That's the big thing about today. He's mocked. And how is he mocked? He's mocked specifically as king. And note the efforts and even the expense that goes into this mocking. So what is mocking? Mocking is when you try to debase a person using a parody of the position. So they mock Jesus as king to make a point that he is not king. And specifically, you're not our king. So they start with the crown of thorns. So apparently this was some sort of perhaps it was spontaneous, or maybe it was directed by Pilate to emphasize this kingship. So what role did they mock Jesus as? Did they mock him as a healer? Did they mock him as a teacher? No, they mocked him as king, as they went to the authority card. Who's the boss? Well, you're not above Rome. You're not above Pilate. You're not above the thorn weaver. You're not above this particular fist. You're not above the people that have already beaten you. So there are efforts that have to go into a crown of thorns. Somebody's got to go find the bush, cut it, twist the thing together. And I was just wondering, could it have been done without injuring the guy that made it? The crown's purpose is not to injure the guy who made it. It's the maker. It's to injure the person that wears it, and that's Jesus. So Jesus gets pain from this, he gets bleeding from this, and probably some vision impairment. All right, second thing is a cloak. So why a robe? Well, kings wear robes that designate their office that they occupy and their distinction, their separation, their uniqueness from the common man. So the robe is one, again, of imitation to proclaim you're not that guy, you're not the king. So think about what they're doing. They're telling the King of Kings that he is not their king. They are telling the king of the world that he's not king of their world. All right, next thing, besides the cloak, is the color. Well, why purple? Well, purple is because of the expense. Purple was a very unique and expensive dye in that time. It was sold by specialized sellers because of the uniqueness of the color, and the reason is because of the uniqueness of the source of the color. We should remember the story of Lydia in Acts chapter 16, verse 14. I'll just read that verse. The one who heard us was a woman named Lydia from the city of Thyatira, a seller of purple goods, who was a worshiper of God. The Lord opened her heart to pay attention to what was said by Paul, and she was the first believer in Europe. Okay, so how do you get the purple dye? Well, you have to go find a Myrex shellfish, and you have to go to the hypobrachial gland of that shellfish. So it's inside the shellfish, and you need 8,000 of them to make a single square yard of fabric. So it was valued because of its uniqueness And secondly, and it's color fastness. So they lived in the age where any color you dyed something, it would fade out over time, but not this one. This was color fast. In the age of fading plant dyes, this was valued because of its color fastness. So this particular substance was 10 times as valuable as gold. So a single cloak sold for 3,000 denarii, which is 10 years' wages, 10 years of labor. So unbelievably expensive was anything purple. So it doesn't say where they got this. Perhaps they got it from a rich person or from a Jew, but I think they got it from Pilate because they're inside his fortress. So then they give him their conduct. So they give him their hands, but they don't give him their hands in worship and in bowing down and in subjugation. They give him in the hostility of striking him with their hands. And then finally, they give them to their confession and they say, "Hail, King of the Jews," to emphasize their complete disagreement with them, with Jesus as king. So using all the tools at their disposal, the cloak, the color, the crown, the confession, and the conduct, to specifically express disapproval by feigning approval. They acted like he was a king to tell him he was no king. So they are telling the King of Kings that he is not their king. They are telling the king of the world that he is not king of their world. So just one final question today. You can think about it. Is he your king? Thanks for listening.